welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. We're back with another NFL division prediction episode. Today, we're taking a look at my AFC North, the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Should be a very, very fun episode. I'm excited for this one. But before we get into it, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing on this beautiful Wednesday evening?
I have a dilemma. I get woken up by light very easily. I'm kind of a light sleeper. Because I'm a little baby, to be clear. Not because that's reasonable. Crazy. Anyway, I have these two big windows in my room, and I need to cover them with blackout curtains, right? The problem is that the ceiling fan in my room does not light up currently. It's broken, and it needs to be replaced. And it's not like a light bulb problem that I can fix. It needs a special part to change it out.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, if it was a light bulb, I would have... No, see, because if it was a light bulb, I would have done that.
Right.
So if I have to hang up these blackout curtains, for the record, the windows are like out of reach. Like, so I have to get up on a ladder to put these curtains up. But then there'll be no natural light in my room. It's just like pretty much no light at all. So
can't you open and close the curtains? So when the curtains are closed,
to like really stick to the wall, they have to be like, you use like these little like things of tape basically. So you tape it down to the edge of the window.
Okay. I would say overhead lighting can be overrated. Get some string lights like the one I've got and like a lamp, and you might be fine.
Yeah, there's these guys on TikTok, and they are notorious for hating the big light. So they use accent lighting for all of their lighting.
Two things. Number one, no curtain rod above these windows. So any sort of like, not a thing. Second off, we record. String lights probably.
You have a ring light, don't you?
Yeah, but if there was no natural light in here, it was just one big ring light, it would look like I had one big ring light in a dark room.
Are you familiar with 3-point lighting system?
But I don't have the other lighting system because usually I feel like one of the points is the light that I can turn on in my room. Why could nobody just be like, dang, that is a dilemma for like a week until that new part comes in?
My bad. I'm just trying to offer solutions, man. I'm trying to be helpful here.
Have you ever heard of turning on another light?
No, I'm talking about like for recording. I'm like a 3-point lighting system, a light that's directly on you, and then like a soft light, and then like a warm accent light behind you. Like, I don't know.
This ain't Hollywood, to be completely honest with you, bro. Like,
it doesn't have to be Hollywood.
I don't understand the problem. I don't understand the problem either. I got lamps in here and string lights, and I just turn them off when we record, and then turn the ring light on.
Window open. I could see the natural light. And same with you, Blaiden.
Yeah, I have a window here. I have a curtain
another
rod.
thing about this apartment. You see the natural light, but we didn't have curtain rods, and then we just put them in anyway.
Well, okay. Well, then I have to go install these curtain rods then.
It's not a very difficult thing.
It's not.
Yeah, you're right. I'm so stupid, bro. No, my fault.
Install curtain rods. Get blackout curtains.
I'm going to just shut up for the rest of the episode on top of all of this too, man. I'll go do that now.
I have a take that will make you even angrier, Matt.
Go crazy.
You know, I can kind of see what the winter people are saying when I look at the forecast for the next 10 days.
Theo,
here.
I'm gonna kick you out of the record.
I can kind of see what they're saying. Look, man, you know, when I said that Will Anderson was like a top 7 edge rusher or whatever, and you said like, you know, that might not be right now, but eventually it will be.
Global warming trying to be like, because it'll be hot is like the most bogus argument. Now, here's the question. How warm is it getting in Denver?
This is the question, isn't it? It's been 90 degrees almost every single day this summer. The next 10 days are 94, 97, 89, 89, 94, 95, 96, 95, 94, 90 the next 10 days.
Brother, this is like the best 10-day stretch I've ever heard in my life.
No, that is not a perfect 10-day stretch.
It's a little too hot, bro. This is not like I'm ceding to the winter cells. Absolutely not.
I'm not ceding because here's the thing. Every evening is going to be nice, and I will be outside every single evening.
There you go.
Right? You can just wait until the heat subsides, and then you can go outside, no problem. So I'm not completely ceding here. However, I am sick of it being 90 degrees every single day in the summer. And I definitely rebuke Blaiden's take that that's like the perfect temperature.
I don't know what you want from me, man.
No, 95 is not the perfect temperature, but mid 80s probably is like it's really good. Maybe 80 exactly is like perfect, I guess. But
it hasn't been mid 80s like all summer though. Like at least where I'm at. So I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah, and then in the winter it's going to be 30. Like, and it's going to be terrible, and you're not going to be able to go outside at all.
Your number
will be even shittier at night.
You're too summer built Blaiden because 30 is fine. Honestly.
30 is way too cold. 30 is below freezing.
No, it is not.
30 is below freezing. What are we talking about?
30, you can dead ass go out in like a light sweater and jeans. And
Stop,
totally bro. Like I'm dead serious.
You can go out in a t-shirt and shorts in 95 and be fine. This is the difference between the summer and the winter. In winter, it just has to be like survivable. It just has to be like you can go out. In summer, it needs to be like nice and perfect, and you feel like you won't sweat at all. Nothing will be wrong. That's the standard we hold summer to. Yeah. With winter, it's like, I can put on 3 parkas and make it to my car. And it's like, well, yeah, I can be inside all day. Perfect.
Yes. So, summer, it's still very nice in the evenings. So summer is not, but I'm excited for fall. And that's of course what I wish I made more clear is that fall clears both seasons.
And that's very true. But I also do hold something against people where it's like summer versus winter. And they're like, how about when the weather is in between and perfect? And it's like, yeah, but like the spirit of the debate is, would you rather it be like too hot and have the summertime like pros and drawbacks, or the wintertime pros and drawbacks?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest drawback to summer is just the intensity of the bugs that
it's
you
get. It's too damn hot. And the biggest drawback to winter is it's too damn cold.
No, the biggest drawback to summer is the bugs. I had wasps trying to form a nest around my house, so I had to call a guy to come out, and he sprayed all around my house. So he said if the wasps come back in like a week, to give them a call and they'll come back out. And then every evening, because I was waiting to like take care of my yard in the evening because I had wasps out during the day. So I would go out in the evening, but then there's mosquitoes everywhere. And for some reason, I've got like the perfect blood for mosquitoes. They just love me, man.
Do you like bug spray?
I don't own bug spray.
Okay,
maybe I should.
Well, let's have a conversation about how bug spray might prevent bugs from living.
Let's start the bug spray discourse up then.
Yes, well, if you put on bug spray, bugs become much less.
Does anyone have any like recommendations for like non-toxic bug spray?
Dude, just like any of the damn bugs.
Just Google non-toxic. Like, man, I guarantee you something will come up.
Out here giving Matt suggestions for lighting, and I just get Google it.
Google it.
That's essentially what you guys said to me. Let's not.
At any rate, I'm still on the summer bandwagon because of the evenings. Okay. I've done a lot of fun. I've been fishing. I've been going bird watching. It's been beautiful. I was on a whale watching trip. I can't do that in the middle of winter. No. So I've had a lot of fun this summer, but I'm sick of the 90 degrees. I need the heat to break. It's,
I also hate when people say they can get off better fits in the winter. I hate when people say that. Like if you can't get off good fits in the summer, that's on you, man.
It is a bit of a skill issue.
That is a skill issue.
It is a bit of a skill issue, and I say that as someone with that skill issue. But it is. Well,
Theo, I feel like you wear a lot of like warm or like fall and winter clothing in the summer.
I do, and I guess my hot take is I like long sleeves in hot weather because it protects you from the sun.
That's a good take, actually.
But it makes you warmer.
It does make you warmer, but like get some like breathable long sleeves.
Get some nice linen, and you'll be cooking. The problem is he wears corduroy.
Corduroy. I wear a lot of
in the summer.
But at any rate, that's enough winter summer dialogue for today.
We'll cut the banter.
We'll bring it back tomorrow.
Let's get into this football talk, man. The AFC North. Should we just knock it out? The Cleveland Browns, get them out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. We all know what the story is. It's going to be basically the same as last year. They will go as far as their quarterback play will take them.
I don't think that's true because
you don't think that's true?
No, I think it's the opposite with the Browns because their quarterback play took them.
Their quarterback play will take them 4 wins.
Their quarterback play is terrible, and the rest of their team is good.
But like, I guess that's fair. But they will go as far as their quarterback play will take them. But the floor for how far that is a lot higher because the rest of the team is so good.
Yes. Their ceiling will be determined by their quarterback.
Yeah, their ceiling will be determined. And honestly, their ceiling is probably to be judged by who the backup quarterback is. Because if we're judging based on how much Watson has played over the last couple of years for Cleveland, it's not a whole lot of football. So Jameis Winston's the backup there. Mm-hmm. I do imagine at some point he's going to play. I would even go as far as to say he will probably play more games than Watson this year. Now, I have seen some people on Twitter. He might, man. I've seen some people on Twitter suggest that, Watson did have some good stretches in moments last year. He showed that he still has
stretches or good moments.
Good stretches of good
stretches of plays, good stretches of games.
I think he had I think I've seen like people say he had like a good series here or there.
I can agree with that.
It's not a whole lot, but they're like, well, if we get this all the time, then it's like it looks pretty good. But even in Watson's best moments that I've seen, it's still he's still very much meandering through his progressions and reads. There's no sense of, well, let's get 3-step drop, get through your progression, get the ball out in under 3 seconds. He still holds the ball for a really long time. His release, I feel like, is still quite slow compared to what it used to be. He does have the escapability. I feel like that is still in his bag of tricks. But as far as doing high-level NFL quarterback stuff at this point, it just kind of eludes him. And if he's not playing well, I got to check when their bye week is. It's kind of a late bye week. I wonder if we get through kind of their first set of divisional games, Cincinnati and Baltimore, those are both at home, that somewhere in between there, between like week 7 and week 8, I could potentially see Jameis coming in if Watson isn't hurt, of course.
I mean, maybe. Watson has been quite bad. His sack rate since joining Cleveland is 9.8%. Sam Howell's in his career is at 9.7. So that's not good.
It's not. He just holds the ball too long. Like it's that simple.
Yeah, I don't know what he works on in practice.
Ball for a long time though.
Yeah, but he hasn't taken sacks like this all the time, and I don't know what he works on in practice. It seriously looks like he goes out there and just kind of wings it, like me playing Madden. It's like I don't have like a set process that I kind of go through. I'm just kind of like looking for the open guys, like, oh, I want to hit the crosser, I want to hit the go, and then I hold it. That's what it feels like when Deshaun Watson is playing quarterback.
And his pocket presence doesn't feel very foundational either, right? It's just like, there's a guy on my back, let me try and throw him off.
Yeah, and I ask you this, Blaiden. So we love everything else about the team, but we don't like Deshaun Watson. What are your expectations surrounding the Browns? Because they're a highly regarded team right now. I just saw them ranked 7th in a power ranking. Yeah. There's a lot of excitement regarding the Browns right now. How much excitement do you have, and like where do you think they'll finish in the playoffs again, or second in the division? Or?
I do think they'll probably make the playoffs again. Okay. Whether that's how high they have to finish in the division to do that is hard to say. I'm guessing probably second. just because I think the AFC South is going to probably have a couple of teams. I think the AFC East could have a couple of teams. I think it could be a little bit tough to get in like as a three seed in the North. But I do think you have to have decently high expectations. Even if Chubb isn't back right away, like they were good without him last year, right? And Amari Cooper had a great season. And there's good word on the progression of Cedric Tillman this year. Who knows how good he
It's
could
been
be.
one day. Wait a minute.
And then of course the main thing is the defense is still intact, and we retained our defensive coordinator. So those are kind of the big things that you needed in order to have to feel comfortable going into this year. The big thing that concerns me is the secondary. If the Browns are not getting as much pressure as they did last year, which was an insane amount, I do think there is a world where guys like Emerson and Newsome could get picked on more than they did last year. Thornhill could get picked on deep a little bit more, and Delpit plays a lot down in the box. So, like I that would be my main concern, is that maybe they aren't quite as dominant as they were last year rushing the passer, and they give up a few more big plays. But I still think overall the defense will be very good. I think the expectation should be that they finish about as good as they did last year, which was 11 wins.
Okay.
I think that's got to be the expectation. I think anything less than that would be a pretty.
I think it's a fair standard to hold them to, for sure. I completely disagree with you guys on like Watson's getting benched in 6 weeks. No way.
I don't think he'll get benched, but I'm just saying he's like terrible. And
I'm not saying he's not terrible, but Blaiden, your expectation that like he's going to be like benched for Jameis Winston in 6 weeks. No way are they doing that unless he is like the worst quarterback in the NFL.
He could be, man.
I mean, his cap hit the next 3 years is 63 million, 63
guaranteed. They're not basically saying they're basically if they bench him for Jameis straight up, they're saying you suck. We're done with you. They're not doing that. They're just off principle. And Jameis is fine, but he's not any better than Flacco. I mean, it would probably be very, very similar to that. My guess would be, right?
Probably, but he's a little bit more. He's a little bit more young, a little bit more sproutly. Like he'll probably
a little bit more what?
He's a little more sproutly. No, here's the thing. I won't deny that.
There's a word that I was looking for, and I couldn't quite think of it. So
he's a lot more sproutly. Even I would not.
Sproutly.
Spry.
Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think
I just made up a word, man.
Sproutly is not a word.
No, I made that shit up, man.
I like it though. Anyway, keep going.
I just think no matter how spry Jameis is, like first off, where is Jameis on like the 30-year-old?
Yeah, Jameis is not as sproutly as some are. He is 30, and he's not
as sproutly as Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
No,
and it's Huntley is the other quarterback in that room. Another interesting group we have put together. I think their quarterback play is going to suck, and I think it's probably going to be Watson for a while. I guess anything could happen. I mean, if you're really high on the Browns, I guess you have to assume that Watson will return to form. I find it hard to believe. We haven't really seen anything that makes us think that. And we're talking about tape that's years and years old now of the last time he was playing elite ball. But he has done it before. Mm-hmm. You can't deny that. True. I think that they'll probably be around as good as they were last year. And I think one thing we really like to say on here is if you didn't get better, you got worse. I think Cleveland may fall into that category. I kind of simultaneously think like their defense could carry them again. And maybe Watson isn't like elite, but is like a little bit better. Maybe this is like it falls into a different range and then just like total ass should be benched for Winston versus like, oh my God, he's top 5, right?
Right. That's the thing is, I feel like
and
if the Browns quarterback play, whether it's Watson or Jameis, were at least Tua level, I think we would be.
That is a real upgrade, though, and like, there's no reason to believe that Winston is going to play like that.
No, I'm saying if we got Tua level quarterback play consistently, I would pick us to win the Super Bowl today.
Leading the league in passing yards. I mean, Tua is such an interesting guy because it's like, what is Tua level quarterback play? Is it good?
Well, I'm mostly just saying in terms of
scheme.
We're hitting the top. We're hitting the top of our drop, and we're getting the ball out on time, and that's the thing that the Browns were missing last year.
I don't know if I would pick you guys to win the Super Bowl. With Jared Goff at QB. Well, fair enough. But I kind of think they're underrated to win the division. Like, they are a little bit more of a threat, and we'll get into it. Like, I don't think that the teams in this division are as strong as you'd expect. But at the same time, like, if I have to pick a placement for them, I have them at third. I don't see them leaping up big time. And honestly, I'm really interested to see if they make the playoffs. If they're third in this division, they're probably not going to make it. It's close. They're a team that's going to be a big, like, when is the big play? When is the big interception? When are the sacks coming? Mm-hmm. They're kind of volatile in that sense. And they were last year. Like, bad quarterback play, great defense is going to be super volatile, right? Mm-hmm. But I think I have to still stick with them at third. And honestly, I think they missed the playoffs.
I have them at second. I think they'll make it.
Second.
Oh, you have no idea what I'm on today. You have no idea what I'm on today.
I know. I actually entirely see your vision, Blaiden. I disagree with it, but I know where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going,
man.
Actually, you might not know where I'm going. I've been dancing on this for a few days.
I don't know, man. I really do like their defense again this year. You said, Blaiden, like, maybe their pressure numbers will be worse this year. Like, the secondary doesn't hold up if that happens. Like, maybe, but I just don't see any reason why their pressure numbers are going to be, like, heavily impacted from this year to last year. They still have Miles. Yeah, there's regression, but, like, they still have Miles Garrett. No. They still have Ogbo Okoronkwo. They added Mike Hall, Dalvin Tomlinson, Z Smith still there. Like, Hurst, if he's healthy. It's such a deep front
I'll say this. The Browns are probably going to have... I don't know if I would guarantee they have the best offensive line, but they'll have a really good offensive line, like in the AFC North.
Yeah. And they were really injured last year along the offensive line is the other thing. Like, Bitonio missed some time.
I don't know if they're exactly healthier right now. Jed Wills is still recovering. Conklin's still recovering, but... You know, we still have DeJuan Jones, and he'll be good. And hopefully our center play is consistently healthy now. Pochik has been really nice for us. But they're probably going to have the best defense. I would put them over Baltimore. I think we did in the defensive rankings. They'll probably have the best defense in the division. I think they'll probably have the best offensive line in the division. And they will probably have maybe the second best run game, depending on Nick Chubb. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the team. Like, even despite the quarterback situation, I still like the team. But I just think the top two teams in this division are ironclad. Honestly, like, I'm excited to see what you have cooked up for the Bengals or Ravens finishing below the Browns here. I will be honest. Like, I think the Bengals and Ravens are so strong next year, and then. And so I can't put them anyone. And then I think the Steelers are kind of a similar build, right? Like, I really like their defense as well. They might have the stronger running game, right? Like, they have kind of the same top heavy wide receiving core where it's Amari Cooper and everybody else, I think, in Cleveland. And then the Pittsburgh wide receiving core is probably a little bit less inspiring.
Well, and there's an interesting discussion about, like, who's going to have the worst quarterback play in this division.
It's going to be the Browns, I think. I think it's going to be the Browns. But I think them and Pittsburgh are just at a similar level, a tier below what the Browns or what the Bengals and Ravens are going to do. So I'm going to put the Browns at number 4. Fuck it.
Oh.
Deshaun Watson sucks. I'm going to put him at 4.
Ew. I hate that.
I don't think the Steelers defense is as good as the Browns.
That's fair.
I don't think their offensive line is as good as the Browns. I see the vision with the like maybe it's more likely that they finish below the Steelers. All of these teams are really close, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think they're all kind of threatening. So I kind of think that like the Steelers and the Browns could do a little bit more damage than people expect, but like I don't actually quite have them above the Ravens or Bengals. So that's how I'm ranking them. But I respect the Browns finishing late is a little bit more, or like low is a little bit more likely than people think. And I respect the Browns finish a little bit higher than people think, Jake. I think both of those are reasonable. I know that's a middle of the road opinion, but I think it's true. I do.
Hey everyone, you know there's nothing like spending a summer day at the ballpark, right? I mean, one of my favorite memories is seeing my very first Grand Slam at a Reds game last summer, and this year I'm excited to make even more memories, and I found the perfect way to do it with an app called Game Time. Did you know that Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball? It makes getting tickets faster and easier than ever, and the best part, prices on Game Time actually go down as it gets closer to the first pitch. How awesome is that? And I've been browsing the Game Time app, and there are some incredible deals on upcoming MLB games. For instance, I saw a great deal on tickets for the Yankees versus Red Sox game next weekend. The process is so simple, just a few taps and you're in. One of my favorite features is the views from your seat option. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting before you buy. Plus, Game Time offers killer last minute deals, all in prices with no hidden fees and a lowest price guarantee. They even have event cancellation and job loss protection, which is huge for peace of mind. If you're a last minute planner like me, you'll love the flash deals and zone deals where you can save up to 60% on tickets, and the all-in pricing is a game changer. You see the total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code BLAIDENK, BLAIDENK, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code BLAIDENK for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
I want to get into the Bengals next.
Yes,
because the reason why Blaiden has them low is because their defense is not what it once was. This idea that they have the defense that they had when they went to the Super Bowl, not true. Not the same defense. Played like terribly last year, and now there's no DJ Reader. I think it's completely valid to be concerned about them.
I think there's a lot to be worried about with Cincinnati. In particular, they're probably going to have the worst defense in this division. Their offensive line is better. It is still the worst in this division by a pretty wide margin. And outside of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, given that is a great trio.
Yes, it is.
That is a great trio. The rest of the roster is not even close to the rest of the AFC North, I don't think.
I don't know.
So that to me is my biggest concern. And I made a video on this. Like I have some expectations for the safeties. I think Geno Stone and Jordan Battle will be a pretty solid duo. Jordan Battle played pretty solid for them in the second half of the year. He's a pretty great open field tackler. And Geno Stone obviously, had a lot of success in making big plays for the Ravens last year. Where you really get concerned is with the secondary. I'll give people that, maybe the defensive line can still be okay. They brought in Chris Jenkins. They have Sheldon Rankins. They still have BJ Hill. The cornerback room could be really, really worrisome for me. I may have underrated Cam Taylor-Britt a little bit in my TikTok. I insinuated that he is garbage.
I like Cam Taylor-Britt.
He is a solid boundary corner, but they have no answer at the other boundary corner spot. DJ Turner or Dax Hill is completely unserious, I think.
I mean, yes, I think you're underrating Cam Taylor-Britt. I think that he has a lot of potential. He's big, he reacts well. He made some really high-end plays last year. I think if he's your corner one, you have hope. I think Geno Stone was a good addition. Mm-hmm. They have Mike Hilton, who's a dog in the slot, really good. And so really, I think all you're looking for is that second boundary corner spot, which was really rough last year, Blaiden, like you mentioned. I don't think Dax Hill and DJ Turner are completely, terrible or anything. They're both 24. They did not have good
I think
years
it's
last year,
concerning
but-
that Dax Hill was like a hybrid player coming out of college, that they moved to safety, and he was so bad at that they decided to move him back to corner. To me, that's
yeah. I mean, it's not wrong. Like, it's one of those guys needs to play a lot better than they have in the past.
Yes.
But I do think that Cam Taylor-Britt and Hilton and Stone and Battle and Bell is enough there where it's like, it's not a horrific secondary like you're making it out to be, I think. And then their pass rusher, I mean, they still got Trey Hendrickson, 17 and a half sacks last year, 64 pressures. Miles Murphy had a development year. They brought in Sheldon Rankins, who has always been a bit of a underrated vet, like pass rusher to me. They have a good linebacker tandem in Wilson and Pratt. And the gulf between Watson and Joe Burrow is the Grand Canyon. And the gap between the Bengals receiving room and the Browns receiving room is the Grand Canyon. And when the Bengals made the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I mean, they were the complete opposite build that you'd expect from a Super Bowl contender. They had they were completely one-dimensional. They could not run the football. They could not protect Burrow. Like, their offensive line has improved.
They had like a top 10 defense. I mean, their defense was awesome that year.
On paper, and like, I think that, I mean, their defense was fine, but it wasn't like the level of the Browns or the Ravens.
Not right now. But I just look at if we're comparing, like, we can say that the defense isn't going to be like, I don't think the defense as a whole compared to the rest of the league is going to be a bottom feeder. Like, I think their EPA like total was about league average, right? Their EPA and success rate. It'll probably be around there again. But it's the worst in this division.
Bengals defensive EPA per play?
Was it?
Last year?
Yeah.
Dude, it was 27th in the league, man. Damn. It was worse than the Panthers. It was awful. Their defense sucked last season, but nobody knew because everybody gave up on them when Burrow went down. Their defense is not that good. It was not that good last year. It was a disaster, and they lost their best player. Undoubtedly.
Even with Luana.
They are absolutely, that defense is
and
not
they lost
really,
and they lost Burrow. And what was their record? 9-8. They had a winning record.
9-8.
Like, they're fucking good, man. Like you got Burrow. Like, the Burrow had none of the other pieces that you'd expect from like a Super Bowl contender a couple years ago. Like, like I said, the offensive line terrible. And now, like, they've added Mims, they've added Orlando Brown. Like, Burrow was banged up last year. I know he didn't play super well, but I'll give him a bit of a pass for that. Like, I honestly think, like, Burton I thought they had an insanely good draft.
I like their draft.
They did draft.
How is this team not gonna, like?
Your point last year about why Jamar and T were so valuable is because they kept the offense good when Burrow was gone. And that was true. Their offense still produced with him gone. So, yeah, you get Burrow back, but it's not like their defense was great and their offense sucked. They won 9 games and now they get Burrow back and now their offense will be good. It's like their offense actually kind of stayed afloat without Burrow, and that's what got them to 9 wins, in spite of a defense that didn't perform and lost their best player. What has happened to DJ Reader conversations? It's just like he just doesn't matter anymore. It's like it's nothing. This guy went from one of the most valuable players on a defense that made a team go to the Super Bowl. Let's be clear. That's what got them to Super Bowl too. Like, whatever. It makes no sense to me.
They also won 5 of their one possession games last year, including 2 in overtime. It's like, and there's also some that they lost that maybe they get, but like,
they also beat after Burrow started to get healthy. They beat Seattle, San Francisco, and like Buffalo, and they beat San Francisco 31-17, and they beat Buffalo 24-18.
Seattle wasn't good last year, really.
I'm sure, but like I think with Burrow, this team can beat anybody. Like, I understand Burrow, like, Reader is their best run defender. When he got hurt last year, their run defense sucked, and it could probably suck again. I don't think that's going to prevent the Bengals from being really good.
I don't think it's going to either. I think even with a really bad defense, the Bengals will be good. I have them at second in this division. Their defense is not that good.
Yeah, I can get down with like their defense being mid and the worst in this division. I cannot get down with them finishing below the Browns. I think the offense is going to trump the Browns defense.
They have the worst defense, the worst offensive line, and they're going to be one-dimensional on offense. I think that makes it really hard to be.
I think they're in a better position to run the ball now than they have been in the past.
It's who? Zach Moss, Chase Brown. Their offensive line is better than it was, but their run game's not going to be in the same stratosphere as any of the other teams in this division. Like, not
and that's
close.
fine if your passing offense is good enough. Like, again, the Bengals made the Super Bowl, they made it to the AFC Championship game the next year. Their run offense was horrifically bad. It was one of the worst in the league. Now it's like they actually might have more balance than they ever had before.
Yeah, but that would be like me saying the Browns made the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco at quarterback, so them having a bad quarterback is no big deal. Like, I don't disagree with you about the Browns being below the Bengals, but I do think that Cincinnati is like not the best version of themselves. Offensively, probably yes, because I'm not the biggest Mixon guy. I thought Moss was pretty good last year, and their offensive line, like if Mims plays, like I think he's going to be really, really good.
That's the other thing that we need to talk about. Like we've been kind of negating injuries kind of throughout all of our predictions, but it's nothing that Burrow's coming off a pretty bad injury the same way that Chubb's coming off a pretty bad injury.
And Burrow's been banged up in the past, no doubt. But
and then they've got Mims, who's played, maybe less football than Trey Lance.
Potentially one of the tackles being more injury prone. We've excused,
but also they've got two guys on 1 year deals, and I think Mims will probably be in more of a developmental role this year.
They have Trent Brown, who's not like the worst backup to have if Mims goes down. But I don't know. I like the Bengals this year. I think that there have always been holes on this roster, but they've been very good despite some pretty glaring ones. And if Burrow is healthy with the three receivers that they have, they're going to be extremely dangerous. And I also think, they might have different holes now than they did a couple years ago. They also have different strengths now than they did a couple years ago. So I think that they're going to return to the same pretty elite level that they've been at.
Do they have different
over
strengths?
the 2020s?
What are their different strengths?
The tackles. They've gone from the worst.
I'd call it a strength.
Orlando Brown and Amarius Mims and Trent Brown.
It's better.
That's pretty damn good. Like, I know people hate Orlando Brown, but like, he's a good run blocker. Like, he's very capable. Teams have won Super Bowls. Teams have been very good with him in. Like, it's a pretty good tackle duo, I think.
That's fair.
I think their offense will be the best it's ever been. I do. And really? I wonder if maybe their defense, because of the guys on it, like I look and it's like there's a decent amount of talent. I wonder if it'll be okay. But like, it was bad last year. It was not like, we got Geno Stone. Okay, we're good. It's like, no way, man. It was bad.
Yeah. And so even Ravens fans have concurred that Geno Stone, when he wasn't like making those interception plays, he was prone to giving up some big plays of his own, almost Trayvon Diggs-esque. So I don't think it'll all be sunshine and rainbows on defense. Again, I think they're going to have the worst defense in this division, the worst offensive line, and the worst run game. I am not bold enough to say they'll finish last. I'm not. Yeah. But I do think they'll finish below the Browns.
I think it's definitely a possibility. My thought process was that I'm going to bet on the offense. And we've been betting on offenses all offseason. I stand by that. Their offense will be great. Semi-bad vibes because of the bad haircut definitely made me less confident in them. Which I honestly don't think is that bad, but I'll make the joke anyway.
What's the success rate of NFL players getting new haircuts before the season starts?
I don't have those numbers on hand.
15%. If I got a haircut and everybody was like, that haircut sucks, you're an idiot, I would absolutely lose my mind immediately. Like, within 6 hours or so, I'd probably start freaking out at practice and throwing the ball at reporters. I won't lie. So Joe Burrow mentally is probably as tough as he's ever been. But I cannot quite put them at one. So I've got them second. And I think the Browns could threaten them. I don't think that's impossible. Like, if the Browns win 11 games, it's like there's no way the Bengals finish around 11. Like, one score cheese. It happens. But yeah, I've got the Browns at 3. And I'm probably, I'm sticking with
the Bengals won 2 overtime games with Jake Browning. What are we talking?
What was their score?
How is that like, I get that the one score games, like, they could regress. Like, the Giants,
I'm not even trying to make like a one score game thing. That to me, it's just like a funny, I'm like, how did that happen? Like, two out of
and you
3
win the game.
games. They like won an overtime game. I think they won 3 games in a row. 2 of which being overtime wins. Yeah, they went Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Minnesota. They beat Jacksonville 34-31 in overtime. Then they handled Indy. Then they beat Minnesota 27-24.
I don't think that's that crazy.
I think that's pretty funny, man. To win 2 overtime
Going to
games
overtime with the Minnesota Vikings and winning is not that great. They go to overtime like every game.
The Vikings.
Every Viking, it doesn't matter who they play. Like it could be tied at the end.
They went 5-3 in 1-score games. In my opinion, that is insignificant. Unless you are like 8-0, and it's like, okay, well, like unless you do some shit like that, I don't care. I won't deny that progression or regression to the mean exists, but I will.
This year they'll go 3-5.
The possibility, yeah, right. So I agree. I think their offense will be very strong. You make a good point, Theo. Probably would take an equally strong Browns defense performance to overcome that, and then you would need the Bengals defense to be the version of itself it was last year. I think that's not an impossible thing. And I really think losing Reader for what they did, like, it just sucks, man. But
losing Reader does suck. I don't want to be hated as a Reader hater.
I think
you definitely aren't.
I think it's worth criticizing their process. And I understand that part of the Bengals issue is that their owner isn't some like ultra, Walmart owner with billions and billions of cash to hand out to players, but it is worth talking about that they continue to let guys walk. The only guy that they really have extended long term on this team right now is Joe Burrow. Right, Jamar Chase doesn't have a deal done. T. Higgins, and they let Reader go. They let Bates go. At some point, like you've got to just find a way to keep your good players. Either that, or you have to be able to draft perfectly all the time in order. Yeah,
but they brought Pratt and Wilson back, and that wasn't a guarantee. And so their linebacking core still looks good. And their Reader succession plan, they drafted Chris Jenkins Jr. in the second round. I thought that was a strong pick, and he's a very good run defender right now who just can't quite finish with pass rushing productivity yet.
No, I agree. I like
he's got
Jenkins
potential as a Reader replacement. So that's why I'm not like completely sounding the alarm on their run defense, because it's like Reader didn't play last year a ton, and now they have Chris Jenkins. Like that could honestly be an improvement over a couple, like not over peak Reader, but over what they got out of their run interior last year. So.
Yeah, I did like their draft a lot. I disagree with the process of who they've let walk necessarily. Yeah, but I have them at second.
Well, so I'm assuming we all then have the Baltimore Ravens winning this division, is what it sounds like, which is unsurprising considering their quarterback is probably the best in this division. Two-time MVP. Winner Lamar Jackson. Their defense is still probably going to be very good despite the loss of Mike McDonald. The addition of Derrick Henry makes their run game look very, very scary. And even if the receivers aren't like top tier, you probably trust this offense to get it done, I would think. So I wonder, is there anything to be concerned about?
There's some things to be concerned about. I mean, they lost a little bit of help on the offensive line. They lost, Patrick Queen, for instance. They lost McDonald, of course. But I look at it, okay, you still have Lamar, incredibly valuable. You have probably the best weapons that he's played with yet, right? Like it's pretty much the same as it was last year. I know they added Tez Walker. Not super high on him, but, we'll see. You can't know for sure with drafts or whatever. But regardless, you're getting most everybody back that you had last year. Maybe their offensive line has taken a step back, but I just think it still is more good than bad. And the Derrick Henry addition does matter to me, to be completely honest with you. He's such a physical threat. You have to commit so much if you want to stop Derrick Henry, even if he's not in his absolute prime. And that's difficult because he's now going to be with the quarterback that makes it hardest to commit to the running back, right? And Lamar Jackson, who you have to account for as much as any other player or any other quarterback in the NFL in the run game. So I'm super excited about that. You should be pumped. I'm glad they got him. Defensively, yeah, it's not going to be the same defense, but what it will be is an amazing secondary. It's going to be completely ridiculous. They added arguably our number one defensive prospect in Nate Wiggins, who we've been high on for like over a full year now. It's going to be incredibly special. And then they've got stars at the other two levels. Like they still have Roquan Smith. They still have Matabike. So I wonder if maybe the pass rush could take a little bit of a step back. Maybe they're not as creative. Clowney had a big year. He's not there anymore. I wonder if they can fill the queen role, because they've got Trenton Simpson, I think, is sort of going to be like their athletic, rangy guy, and he's unproven, I believe. But I still think the defense is like I'm a lot more confident in it than I am in like the Bengals defense.
Yes,
and I think the Ravens offense is probably still going to be pretty special, if maybe not as explosive as the Bengals offense. Maybe the Bengals got it in that aspect.
Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, you start.
You're too kind. No, I just wonder, like, how are you even going to guard, or how do you even defend against this Ravens offense at this point? Because you already have, like Matt, you said, you already have to bring in a guy to account for Lamar, and then you have to bring in another guy almost specifically to account for. I mean, how many 8-man boxes are they gonna see? You basically have to go man.
High.
You have to go zero high man coverage, bare front against this Ravens team. It's ridiculous. It is a very risky and dangerous defense that you have to run to successfully play against this team. And the number of teams defensively that can do that is what? Cleveland, the Jets, maybe San Francisco, maybe Kansas City.
Like San Francisco didn't have a good run at it last year.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's true. They got cooked. So I don't like, there's maybe 4 or 5 defenses in the NFL that can realistically match up against what Baltimore's going to be throwing at you this year. I would be very, very concerned facing them week to week, especially if you're in this division. You have to face them twice.
Yeah, and I could see the argument that this team got a little bit worse this offseason, but the thing is they have so much room for error when you look at what they did last year. They beat Houston 34-10 and 25-9. They beat Detroit 38-6. They beat Miami 56-19. They beat San Francisco 33-19. I know Seattle didn't make the playoffs, but still 37-3. Like, they beat Cleveland at one point 28-3. Like, this team set the record for most wins against teams over 500 last year, all time. And that was without Mark Andrews for a healthy portion of the season. Now he's back.
Yeah. Isaiah Likely is really good, though.
Likely is very good. Really good. Zay Flowers, very good. And then I think Lamar and Derrick Henry is about as dangerous of a backfield as there has been in NFL history. And yeah, maybe Derrick Henry isn't quite what he was in like 2019, but
he's aged incredibly well.
He's the Tom Brady of running backs, man. I'll write him off when I see it. And last year the Titans were 4th in yards after contact, and they were like dead last in yards before contact. And I think that tells you that if Derrick Henry has a little bit more room to maneuver, he can still do some serious damage. And he did do some serious damage last year. Yeah. And they have also might get Keaton Mitchell back from injury as well, who was very efficient for them last year. Like you said, Matt,
19 yards per touch or something.
19. Yes, I think it was something around there. And then up the spine of their defense, Matabike, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams. It'll force you to go to the perimeter where it's harder, where they have Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins. Like, man, it's a really, really good team. I still think that this team has their window is still wide open. It would not surprise me if they made it to the Super Bowl this year. I think people have gotten too comfortable writing off Lamar Jackson in the playoffs because of his performance against the Chiefs, which wasn't great, but also Zay Flowers fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, I mean, they were still they ended up being like a play away from being in the Super Bowl.
I know. And really with Lamar Jackson, like in the past, he had a game against the Tennessee Titans really early in his career in the playoffs where he had a bunch of turnovers, but also had a bunch of yards and touchdowns. Then he's been skipping the first round, so he can't have like a Josh Allen versus New England type performance that inflates his stats. So he's been skipping that.
People forget that Joe Burrow, when they went to the Super Bowl, did not play well in the playoffs.
Yeah, it wasn't
it
wasn't some crazy thing.
Yeah,
and like these last 2 years, like Lamar, they've lost a playoff game, and I know Lamar didn't start this one, but they lost a playoff game due to a fumble 6 at the 1 yard line against the Bengals, and then they lost a game with another fumble on the 1 yard line in the Chiefs game. Like, Lamar's still young. He's the youngest 2-time MVP ever. Like, boiling down the entire Ravens season because of like the second half of that Chiefs game is unfair to them. And I think that there's a lot of kind of bad narrative surrounding them. I think they're still potentially the most dominant team in the AFC. And if anybody's going to stop the Chiefs, I would put my money on them. So they're my number one.
Yeah, they would be my number one, and I would probably pick them to be my number 1 seed in the AFC again.
Yeah, I think they're pretty dominant. The Chiefs are good as well. Seeing those Xavier Worthy training camp highlights, it feels like.
Bro, seeing that and then immediately seeing the Daniel Jones clip had me rolling, dog.
Yeah, man. It's 30-yard dot.
That was like a 60-yard dot.
I was talking about the Daniel Jones clip. I won't lie.
Oh, the Daniel.
Yeah. I have the Ravens. I don't have them as the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, but I do have them as the number 1. Lamar just has such a track record of winning in the regular season. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's as good as any player besides Patrick Mahomes, I would guess. I don't actually know the numbers behind that, but it's pretty insane.
I was looking at this the other day.
Like they just win when he's in, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Lamar, of guys that have played like at least 50 games since 2019, I'm pretty sure Lamar does have the second highest win percentage behind Mahomes. If you include guys that have played under 50 games, though, the leader is actually Brock Purdy at like 80%.
Just a winner. X Factor.
He's just a winner. He just wins, man.
But yeah, I've got the Ravens at 1. I've got Bengals 2. I've got Browns 3. We haven't talked about the 4th team.
We have not talked about the Steelers, who, Theo, you actually do not have at 4, but Matt and I do. What are you seeing that you think is going to put them above Cleveland?
I think they like kind of know who they are more than Cleveland does. Like Cleveland hired Ken Dorsey to be their offensive coordinator, who like bombs it down the field a lot with Josh Allen, like one of the highest pass rates in the league. Like if he brings that to Cleveland and Arthur Smith just brings like running to Pittsburgh, like I like the running with Najee Harris strategy and Jaylen Warren more than the like passing with Deshaun Watson strategy, to be honest with you. Like I just think that the Steelers have a certain identity and culture that the Browns don't, and they kind of always seem to get it done, and that's why I'm picking them over Cleveland, honestly. Like they're just the Steelers and the Browns. The Browns is the Browns. Sadly.
Oh man. So lame, man.
So lame. I mean,
I don't even know if you can even use that. Like the Steelers are the Steelers. Like they've just been so perpetually mid.
And what are the Browns been, bro?
Hey, the Browns were ahead of them last year.
Wait, 1-2 more games.
They were. The Browns were the 6th seed and the Steelers were the 7th seed. Like awesome stuff. Hang the banner in Cleveland. I don't know. I just think I love the Steelers. Front 7, Ogunjobi, beast.
Oh, yeah.
Benton, beast. Hayward, beast. TJ Watt, beast. Landon Roberts, beast. Patrick Queen, better than what they were working with last year. I don't think he's quite as... I like Landon Roberts more than I like Patrick Queen. Hot take or whatever.
I love how you're just going, beast,
Patrick
dog.
Queen.
Better.
Patrick Queen. I mean, he's a good starter, and so is like Benton and stuff.
We are never getting Patrick Queen on the podcast after that.
Like they're all beasts. The whole front 7 is good. Alex Highsmith, beast. Minkah Fitzpatrick, beast. Like I think that defense is just as promising as Cleveland's, to be honest with you. And I like their offensive line at this point as well. They just drafted Fautanu and Frazier in the first 2 rounds. They have Broderick Jones and James Daniels and Isaac Suamalo. None of those people are talentless. So it's actually a pretty damn good offensive line in front of Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and potentially a rushing threat quarterback as well. Arthur Smith needs to do a better job than he did last year. He absolutely did not make the most of the pieces that he had, and Ritter. And his rushing game was honestly frustrating to watch after I thought it was so creative back in 2022. Like, he just attacked the edges. No one ever pulled. There was like bullshit end arounds that like you could have just ran straight downhill or something. There needs to be more of that in Pittsburgh this year. I hope that he has like learned his lessons, but I think this run game is going to be so beast mode, and the defense is going to be good. And again, that could be true for the Browns as well. I think that they're in like the same kind of tier and like team build. But I think the Browns that like kind of have to make it work with Watson, whereas the Steelers just can like kind of be like, Russ, you're just hitting play action all day, and we're run the ball all day, and that could end up being a more efficient offensive strategy than the one the Browns might.
Russ
employ.
Hasn't exactly been
good at anything. No, he hasn't. But we're talking about like neither is Watson.
But like we're I feel like when we're talking about Burrow and Watson, it's like obviously we see the chasm with
Wilson and Watson. I see the chasm as well between.
That's what I'm saying. Like these
with
are
Watson looking up at Wilson.
Maybe, but could Watson take a leap and get?
Could Wilson take a leap and get back to his MVP form that they traded for? Like, come on, man. He's the same. It's both mid.
Watson leap to Wilson level play. I got Browns at 4th in this division, man. This is the conversation we're having. If
the Steelers,
Russell Wilson.
The Steelers also have Cordero Patterson, and he's going to return 10 kicks for touchdowns this year.
Boom.
Yeah, but do they have Cedric Tillman, who's going to have a big breakout year, go for 1,100 yards?
They don't. No, but they have Marquez Callaway.
Marquez Callaway. Oh, you know who just got signed today?
Yes. Oh, how did we not bring this up? Laquan Treadwell. Back.
Indianapolis Colts legend Laquan Treadwell. I might have to buy a Colts Treadwell jersey. Real talk.
Lock it in. He will make the 53-man roster. Year 9 for Laquan Treadwell. Shout out to him, dude. This is team number 6. He's played for 5 teams since that Vikings jersey, man. We need an update, and we need it immediately.
We need it at some point. I feel like it would be really funny.
And you've been repping the Colts. It's perfect.
I know, man. I feel like at some point I should just get every Laquan Treadwell jersey.
That'd be awesome.
Like when he retires, I'm gonna get every jersey and then ask him to sign all of them.
Bro, they may not have made any like Seattle Laquan Treadwell jerseys, bro. I won't lie to you.
No way. You're telling me they didn't make one?
Probably not there. You might have to get them custom, man.
It belongs in a museum.
It's in the Hall of Fame. It's in Canton right now.
No, but shout out to Treadwell.
Shout out, man. He's finding his way. He's finding his way. The breakout year for Laquan Treadwell is happening.
I just looked up Laquan Treadwell jersey, and there's an NFL shop page that says official NFL Laquan Treadwell jerseys, and I click on it, and it brings me to a custom Ravens jersey.
Oh no!
Your name here.
You're gonna have to drop like $1,000 to get those 6 jerseys, man. I'm sorry to say.
I might just have to like call my boy and be like, "Yo, dog, let me get a game worn."
I'm not seeing any on eBay. I'm
making
some
like
Vikings jerseys. I'm seeing
if you had a Laquan Treadwell jersey, you wouldn't be selling it. Obviously.
That's the problem. Everybody is keeping their Laquan Treadwell jerseys.
There's probably millions in Seattle just walking around hogging them.
Millions. Everyone just has them hanging on their wall. Real talk, if you have a Laquan Treadwell jersey other than a Vikings one,
wait,
you're willing to part with it,
you can get one on ecrater.com.
Nah, bro. I'm gonna get kidnapped. I'm gonna get kidnapped, bro. You're gonna find me on a milk carton tomorrow if I order that jersey.
And zurleystore.com.
Oh yeah, man.
Dude, just go to
a
Go to
cool
zerlingstore.com.
58.74.
This is an ad, by the way. Go to
Free
zerlingstore.com for all your Laquan Treadwell jersey needs.
Location Hong Kong. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up in Hong Kong. That's what's gonna happen.
Dude, the jerseys, the like suggested jerseys that they're showing me below the Treadwell are so funny. They've got Larry Borum. They've got Ogunjobi on the Steelers, actual dog.
Cleveland Browns legend.
Larry Roundtree. These are the suggested jerseys.
This sounds like a nerd
Latavius
trivia list of players.
Lawrence Cager. Wow.
This can't be real life, man.
Hold up. I'm at LaquanTreadwell.com and I'm not playing at all.
Leroy
And he's got
Watson.
merch, bro.
Oh,
$25 for a Laquan Treadwell jersey. Or not a jersey, it's a t-shirt. My fault. I might cop.
LaquanTreadwell.com. Yeah, I'm on the website. This isn't a badly built site.
Yeah,
you know what? You know the merch that I always
have the website.
You know the merch that I really regret never getting?
The Gordon,
Josh Gordon. When his final years in Cleveland, he had like this sleeveless hoodie with like the Flash lightning bolt on it, and it was available like only that season, and I've never seen it since. It was so cold, but I was in high school and it was like $70. I'm like, oh, I can't justify that. But looking back, I'm like, dog, I should have bought it. Like that was the coldest thing.
I feel you.
Disappointed. So I might have to cop some Treadwell merch. Yeah, we took a little bit of a detour. Pittsburgh, where were we? We were talking about the receivers. And
they are kind of Cleveland-y. I won't lie to you. I just don't think that their defense is as good or their offensive line is as secure. I see your vision on like they know who they are more, but like what is the Browns like not knowing who they are and then like what their offense is going to suck? I still think they're going to want like run the ball a ton.
Yeah.
Getting Nick Chubb back could whip them into shape quite quickly.
And I also believe that, like, I don't want to say that I'm betting on Watson to take a step, like, at all. Like, I don't think he's going to be good. But with Wilson, it's like physically he's not who he was. With Watson, it's like, what is up with you, dude? You know?
Mentally, he's not who he was.
And like, there's no reason for, like at this age for Watson to just, like, suck when he was so good in his prime. So I guess that sort of, like, gives you more hope that he could get back. But, yeah, like, I don't think he's very good. I just think that the Browns' strengths are a little bit stronger, and that's why I have Cleveland over the Steelers.
I agree.
Yeah, their defense was at a different level last year, and their secondary kind of sets them apart from Pittsburgh, right? Like Joey Porter Jr. we're pretty high on, but
yeah,
we say it like they got Dante Jackson at right cornerback. They got apparently Crayland Arnold in the slot.
It's actually Josiah Scott. The Steelers, it's very Diet Brown. It's like they've got Joey Porter, we've got Denzel Ward, and then
I'm sorry to all Steelers fans listening to this podcast right now. I know that there's a Diet Browns. These two teams are pretty similar, but I mean,
how about this though?
Yeah, we've got Myles Garrett. They got T.J. Watt. There
you go.
Diet Browns.
I mean, I don't know. I could see the defense not being as good and like both offenses being bad and the Browns just being slightly better than the Steelers, like just like it was last year. It's not crazy to believe at all.
Yeah.
But
the Steelers do have Super Bowl champion Van Jefferson. So
they also have Chris Boswell as opposed to like Dustin Hopkins. So when it comes down to like a field
what's
goal,
wrong with Dustin Hopkins, man? Why did Dustin Hopkins just catch a stray?
He's not as good as Chris Boswell, is he?
I mean, he's fine.
See,
like how much? It's not like Justin Tucker out there. Like, what are we talking?
I was about to say, like in our Ravens review, how did we not bring up top 10 player Justin Tucker? How did that
maybe
not factor into our prediction of
maybe I
how
did
good the Ravens would
sleep
be.
on Hopkins. He was 8 for 8 beyond 50 yards last year,
which
means he's due to stink.
He's due to miss.
That's the way the kickers work outside of one.
You have no idea what I believe
outside
Justin
of one.
Tucker is due to do this next season, man. He's not making it through the year, bro.
He's so due to be bad.
He's so due.
I wonder. Maybe I've asked this specific question, but how many kicks in a row would Tucker have to miss before they're like, dude, we can't, like, even if he missed like 5 in a row, wouldn't that be kind of like, we can't kick a field goal with you now, man?
I don't know, but us Tucker heads were not eating last year at all. But like I'm looking at it, he was 1 for 5 beyond 50 yards. That's terrible.
They kept getting blocked.
This is the thing.
That's the thing. If you go over the film, like one of those 50-plus yarders may have been from 65. Another one may have been tipped, and another one as well. But we were not.
You're like, watch the film on Justin Tucker clips.
People are like, he's automatic from 60, and it's like, dude, nobody can be automatic from 60 because you got to kick it so low that it gets like blocked 50% of the time, man. I don't think that it's. So anyway, we're exposing Tucker lies, regardless of whether or not.
But he was like the most automatic from 60 that like anyone has ever been, right? Or like just the most automatic in general.
I'll give you he's automatic from close, and that's more important that he's automatic close. But to say that he's automatic from 60, what's his like career percentage from 60?
Oh,
because if it's anything below like. I mean, I'll even say 50, and that we're considering that automatic. It's like
I don't even know where to find this.
Who's the career leader in like 60-yard field goal percentage?
Probably a guy who made one. Like, I don't know. You just never attempt them. Like, no one ever tries 60-yard field goals. Not that commonly, I guess. I
feel like maybe Carlson might have attempted some last year.
Yeah, I don't know where to find this stat.
Because it's all like 50 plus, yeah.
Once again, we're getting distracted by...
We are. Steelers fans are mad because we're not actually... We spent like 20 minutes talking about every other team. We've gotten sidetracked twice talking about the Steelers.
We've kind of hinted at what we think about them. I mean, like, and we've talked about them in podcasts before. I mean, I think their offense is going to lean really heavily into the run game. It's going to be a lot of play action stuff. They're going to try to hit big things down the field to like Pickens or whatever. And I think their offensive line is better and it will be more successful. And Harris and Warren is a really good duo. And if you put Fields in there, if he ends up getting the nod, like then you got a rushing quarterback as well. And Arthur Smith has been creative in the run game before. Like there's some serious upside there. But the understanding is like their upside is kind of limited by the fact that like they're not going to have a good passing game for sure. Like almost certainly. Maybe they could have like in a nicely efficient one if they keep things limited, but they're not going to have like a big time passing game. They just don't have the personnel for it straight up. Right. Mm-hmm. And then defensively, they're running back a relatively similar defense. And we've talked about that defense and how we think it's really good. Statistically didn't produce as much as like Cleveland, who is like the team that we're comparing them to right now. But like, you know, they've got TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick and they're like a really well filled out. And we love their front seven. Maybe their secondary has some holes, but overall, like Porter playing well. Really, really saves them from having like a disaster cornerback room like they could have. So I think this doesn't feel like the worst iteration of the Steelers in the last few years. You know what I mean? Like I like them more than I have in previous years. I still think that puts them at 4. It's not quite enough. Like the offensive line has some good young guys, but we get to actually see it come together. They have like no upside with the pass game, and their defense is good, but unfortunately, there's a lot of good defenses in this division. So, Steelers magic always happens, but
I think we can trust their special teams to be good as much as any team. We can trust them to win close games, and I think like they're going to lean into their identity and they're going to have a culture, and it's going to be fine. So, maybe they miss, maybe they make. I don't know, but I do think the Steelers will be a tough out and. Their schedule is not too difficult for this being the division that they're in. I mean, they start Falcons, Broncos, Chargers.
The AFC North doesn't. The AFC North kind of has a favorable run of it this year. I feel like
they get the Raiders, they get the Giants, they get the Commanders. And then they always have success within the division, which is the secret sauce for the Steelers. Like Tomlin somehow like owns the Ravens. Like I don't know what he did to have the Ravens like drop all their passes last year, but like he's beat them enough times with Lamar. Like Lamar, how many times has Lamar lost in the regular season in his whole career? Probably like 15 or something, 19. Like,
Yeah.
6 of those are probably against Tomlin. Like,
Yeah, a third of his losses are against the same team.
So I could see the Steelers just being mid and finishing like with 6 wins or something. It's not like off the table, but I do think they'll be like competent. And I don't know why, if they've been so good not so good, but like if they've been winning these past couple of years, like they can win now.
Right.
It's not like their schedule's impossible. Their division is tough, but they win in the division. So I've got them at 3.
That's fair. All right, so final rankings. Theo,
Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns.
Matt,
Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers.
and then I've got the Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. And I think it'll be very close, but
Wonderful.
hey, I do want to ask you guys one more thing before we get out. I've been noticing, the NFL Top 100 is always like a weird discussion because obviously it's like players and they're voting on it, and they're basically just going to pick their buddies and the guys that they see a lot in their division. But Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins making the list, very, very odd. Nick Chubb not there right now. Interesting.
Nick Chubb, I mean, what did they say? George Pickens ranked Aaron Rodgers 3rd on his ballot.
Like, what are we doing, man?
Well, they just give him a list and they're like, fill out your top.
20. Because they give him a top 20. Right. That's the other thing, is they don't give him like a top 100 to
because
fill out.
These guys are not like sitting down like people on Twitter are and being like, actually, you have to take into account that this guy missed 4 games and it's turnover. What are they playing?
No,
it's like,
but
dude,
putting Aaron Rodgers on is
like,
crazy.
Like, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Dog.
And they're like filling it out in like 5 minutes. They're like, fuck. Like Mahomes probably won. Tyreek Hill is nice to fuck. Like they're not. You don't ever see them like scribbled out like a bunch of names and like reordered them because they're like, I just don't know. And like they're not doing that ever, man.
Yeah, it's.
I agree that like the logic of Rodgers being on there, it's like, okay, well then Chubb should be too. But like, man.
I'm just saying, if Rodgers is getting the like dog, why isn't Chubb getting the dog?
Because no one, like Nick Chubb has 0 aura, 0. And that's what it is. Like, just he goes to work, he grinds in silence.
He's so Barry Sanders, man. He's so Barry coded.
I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is the greatest like running back I have ever seen when he's right. He has no aura. It's okay. It's fine.
He doesn't really have a lot of aura, Blaiden, and I'm really sorry.
You're telling me that you saw Nick Chubb squat over 500 pounds 8 months after surgery, and you're like, that didn't have aura?
And I said, I commented, no aura, don't care.
Dude, weight room clips, I'm sorry. Like, there's a limit on how much aura they have. Where is his drip? Where is his post-game fit?
Drip, man.
Where are his quotes? Like, I know that he's really strong and like lifts a ton of weight, but like, where is his?
He's not a radical libertarian, and so he's not.
He does not have any podcasts to his name that I've ever heard. He's auraless.
He has no podcast. He has no drip. I'm not surprised he's not a top 100 player. No, but I believe to fix the NFL top 100, they need to pair up each NFL star with one Twitter user to critique their list and create a much more balanced and fair ranking.
They've got.
I'm looking up Nick Chubb pre-game fit, and like there's not even any pictures coming up. It's just of him running in his uniform.
He's so goated, bro, because he doesn't even need the fit, bro. All these other players, they got distractions, outside noise. Nick Chubb just cares about ball.
And look, all he cares about is ball and winning, and he's a great player, and nobody's contesting that. But if you're going to sacrifice the aura, you've sacrificed the aura. You don't get to be like, well, I'm not caring about any of that. But then that in like reverse, like, no, man. Okay, that was your call. That's your play. It's fine.
Blaiden, do you know off the top of your head where he has peaked in the top 100? little tribute for us.
Too low. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's like maybe in the 60s.
Well, I'm going to guess.
Oh, no, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Okay, he's peaked at 26, so
Okay.
it's not so bad.
Okay, I didn't realize he got. Was that
He never had a year.
last season?
Did he ever have a year where he went off for like 20? He needed like a year where he got the ball like 350 times. I don't know if he ever had that. Did he? Or did he get the ball a lot like the year prior?
He's never led the league in rushing. He got the ball almost. Yeah. He got the ball 300 times not last year, but 2022, and he had 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. But he's never had like a 2,000-yard season or anything kind of even approaching that. He's never led the league in anything at any point. There is no black on his Pro Football Reference, even though he's averaged 5 yards a carry every year of his career.
God, man, he's so goated.
But you can't tell. Like, you're not going to go.
No rushing titles, no aura. He's not making the top 100 off an injury.
This is crazy.
I'm taking Jerome
How far are we
in that backfield?
How far away are we removed from like Rodgers' last good season, man?
2 years.
Is it only 2 years?
He won the MVP in 2021, I'm afraid.
Okay. Fair enough then. Fair enough.
That's
I won't criticize too much. But still, Kirk Cousins being there. Come on, brother. But I guess he has aura. So
I mean, he was an MVP candidate when he got hurt last year. I'm honestly fine with them ranking him in like the 90s or
He played like more games, so I'm like whatever, but
I'm sure they'll miss out on someone egregious.
Yeah. You know, Terry McLaurin sitting there at like 98, like he always is, and everyone's upset. That's like his perpetual spot. He is never getting above or below that.
I mean, he has like the same season every year. 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns. 1,053, 5 touchdowns. 1,100, 5 touchdowns. 1,002, 4 touchdowns. So why would he move up? He has the same season every fucking year.
Yeah, he's same season, same bad quarterback play. You know, nothing changes if nothing changes. So, But hey, that's our top 100 discussion. And that'll probably wrap up this episode of Stay Hot. A little AFC North discussion, a little Laquan Treadwell discussion, a little Matt needing blackout curtains discussion, little summer versus winter discussion, little...
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything for Stay Hot today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, we will catch you on the flippity flop.